Hey guys, it's Ty and welcome back to my channel where I hope you guys stay uplifted, motivate you, and find peace amongst yourself. So if you're interested in these type of videos, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up by leaving a like. Make sure you're commenting down below and make sure you guys are subscribed if you're not already by turning your notification bell on, as well as follow me on my Instagram and my Twitter at Ty_guidance and on Facebook at Talks with Ty to stay up to date. Good evening, good morning, or good afternoon, you guys. It is 5:55, 5:55 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today is Tuesday, September 21st. So I hope you guys are enjoying your morning, your evening, or the afternoon time. I hope you guys have been practicing daily, reflecting, enjoying this new week, and looking forward for the rest of this week as well as this month and this year. So for today's video, we will go over and discuss what does it mean to accept thoughts. And something that I like to do for those of you who are new is look up specific words from the title/topic, and I like to break them down, not only to reassure you all, but to refresh our minds. And the reason for the elaboration and breaking down specific keywords that have significant value is to understand how it may be interpreted or how we perceive it. So the first word that I chose for you all out of the title was the word accept. And to accept means that you are giving consent to receive something or to be offered. So believing or coming to a realization to recognize an opinion or explanation to be valid or correct. So to receive means you're being given or presented with. And the word believe is when you accept something to be true or you feel sure that it has some truth to it. The other word that I chose for you all was the word thought. And the word thought could be used as a plural noun or a noun, so by adding an S at the end of it. So your thoughts or your thought is an idea or an opinion that is produced by thinking by what occurs in our mind. So having an idea, or when you're thinking, you have thoughts, and your thoughts are the actions of how you choose to think. So thinking is just how someone processes or how your mind considers to reason about something. So what I realized, what has helped me along my journey when it comes to accepting my thoughts, is to be mindful and understand the attitude that I have. So acceptance to me means how you perceive your experience and acknowledging it rather than to judge it. And one of my mentors, Sadhguru, has helped me realize not to be so content with labels. So label is when you attach something or you assign something to categorize or to classify. And the reason why I agree with him 100% is because our thoughts come from our feelings. So what I realized when it comes to accepting our thoughts is to realize how we feel. So thoughts, once again, are dealt with how we choose to feel. So how we think is how we're going to handle our emotions and our mental and understanding how it is affecting us by coming up with solutions. And in order to come up with a solution, we must feel. So the feeling comes first most of the time when it comes to accepting our thoughts. So what I've realized, what has helped me along my journey as well when it comes to accepting my thoughts, is to understand naturally how I feel and allow my feelings to just be that. So not reacting immediately and allowing my feelings to just be just that. So without resorting to behave, reactively, understanding how I feel. So what I've realized too as well when it comes to accepting my thoughts is to realize the state of mind or the level of awareness that I have. And in order for me to reflect and understand the experience, I had to realize what allowed me or what caused me to be in the situation that I was in. So ever since we were born as babies, a lot of people have experienced life, and with these experience comes wisdoms, decisions, and understanding. So most people, when they make decisions, majority of the time base them off of how they feel. And I know you're probably thinking, like, what do you mean, like, people base their decisions off of their feelings? You can base a decision off your feelings, but to not understand why you feel what you did will cause you to have a pattern or repeat certain behaviors. So when it comes to accepting your thoughts, what I've realized, what has helped me along my journey, is to reflect on what I felt and process how it caused me to react and to heal. So for me, from my exposure in life, I've been fortunate to live in America, and I've been exposed to like half of America. So like going to like 21 different states, living in like 7 different states, and also living outside of the country, as well as like my ethnic background. So like my parents being a certain type of nationality. So from my exposure, I've realized that one, everyone is not me. Everyone may not be fortunate or have the privilege or the experience to do certain things. That's why I'm also here speaking from my experience, suggesting and advising information, because I've already dealt with the situations in my life and I have the level of awareness to continue to grow and become the person that I believe I am meant to be. I believe that everybody in life is born to have fulfillment and is born to be something. Now, when it comes to understanding who you are and how you are, that's also going to be a reflection of your experiences and your opportunities. So it doesn't degrade or belittle anybody if they may not have the same opportunity experiences as me, but to understand how that affects you. So accepting your thoughts is realizing what you're going through and how does it make you feel. So rather things happen to you unintentionally or you put yourself in situations, are you being responsible and holding yourself accountable? What I've realized for me, in order for me to make these videos, in order for me to actually step into my purpose, as you will say, was to realize how I felt about certain situations. I was 20 years old when I had, I guess people like to call it a spiritual awakening, where I realized what I was doing in my life and how it made me feel. Like it wasn't until the age, maybe like last year, that I started to apply the action. Because what I realized, in my personal opinion, to say one thing and to do something takes a lot. Like a lot of people like to communicate and verbally express things, but if there's no action behind it, you're just communicating. And there's nothing wrong with communication, but being intentional, I've realized what has helped me along my journey to accept my thoughts is to be intentional and knowing that, as well as accepting myself for who I am. So like I've never struggled with comparing myself to others or being others because I understand my existence. But for some people who may struggle with that, what I want to suggest and advise when it comes to accepting your thoughts is to realize that how you choose to feel and think is for you. Like one thing I don't do is tell people how to feel. One thing I've realized is learning to understand that everybody has, a different thought process, and not allowing label to justify us as individuals, because labeling, once again, is just to, attach something or to categorize or to classify. Like anything can be labeled. So, for example, we as people label any and everything to classify. Now, it's nothing wrong with being aware and comprehending something, but to be content with it. And my mentor has really helped me realize from his experience, from his, his life and him being wiser, is that anything could be good or bad. So before I've learned to become, I would say, pure or to step into my purpose, I was corrupt. So in my opinion, the world, what I realized, from how people are overall, and I'm learning to correct and grow, is, from my experiences, like not the best. And I too used to be not the best by not being responsible for my actions and my decisions or being honest about it, having, not genuine intentions. And what I had to learn was that I was the only person who was affected. So, for example, when I used to do things that were not appropriate, I'll just say, and once again, I tell this information not because I'm afraid anybody will use it against me, but to really learn to grow. Because what I've realized is if you cannot be honest about what you have done and accept that you may have been naive, you may have been ignorant, you lack knowledge, or you just were broken, or you felt some type of way, you're not going to genuinely be able to heal. So me speaking, like I said, everything that I'm speaking from is who I used to be and not who I am now. And in order, like I said, for me to get here, I had to go through my life and understand how Ty was affected. So I originally had started this channel thinking that I was alone. And as I've learned to be more consistent with myself and physically show up, realize that I'm not alone and that my calling for me naturally is to be a voice and use my voice. That is one of my natural talents that I have. So like allowing yourself to experience life and to reflect and to really heal and to really, grow requires you to be in a level of awareness of being ignorant, being naive, making, decisions that may not have been the best for you, and to recognize the awareness. Because once again, people make decisions from their feelings, and if you don't understand why you feel a certain way about something, you're going to continue and you're going to have these patterns. You're going to have repetition or repetitive ways that may not serve you. And in order for me, what I had to realize to align myself is to actually be accountable. Like I've had my father, who's no longer here, tell me, that I was going to learn the hard way, and he was correct. So learning from your mentors, learning from people, and knowing that our thoughts are a part of what we feel. So like everybody's environment is not the same. So once again, you can only project what you're exposed to, and taking the time to admit that, taking the time to grow. Like I see a lot of people now who are saying a lot of things and I feel like it's very misleading, but it's not my place to be like, you're lying or you're just doing this just because. At the end of the day, everyone's intentions will show. Rather you can see it, or you're, maybe like me, be, are just naturally in tune and aware, but knowing who you are and where you stand. So when it comes to accepting your thoughts, realizing and understanding what has affected you in a negative way or positive way, because once again, those are labels, and understanding to see the balance. Like my mentor is somebody that I am very proud of and inspired, because it takes a lot of experience as well as growth to be able to reflect. Like nobody is perfect, no one is born perfect, but to be accountable. And once again, like your intentions will show through your actions as well as your words. So if somebody says something and they don't do it, it's not to say that they're not saying who they are, but they're letting you know that they could say anything, but what they choose to do is just a thought. And I had to realize that. So something that I've learned from my mom, I remember having a conversation with her, because I used to do certain things, not intentionally, because nobody wants to like disrespect their parents like on purpose. Like to me, it hurts my feelings. It would hurt my feelings when I would see my mother upset with me and not understanding and processing what was being said. So like I used to do, like, let's just say dumb things, like not things that were appropriate, and I would tell her that I was sorry. And like my mom, is not to say that she wouldn't believe that I was genuine, but what she made me realize, I was having a conversation with her one day, was that when somebody says sorry verbally, their actions have to align. So what she taught me, which was very true when you have genuine intentions, is that if you're going to apologize, you do what you're saying that you're sorry for. So let's just say I took her car and that she told me to come back at a specific time, and I came back later and I was just like sorry, and then I took her car again and did the same thing. What I realized was that I was saying sorry without having any action or being accountable for it. So I would verbally express to her, that I genuinely did feel some type of way, but to me, what I realized to mean sorry, or just to be responsible for your actions, is owning up to it. So if I did something to somebody verbally and I do not change my actions and my behaviors to them, that is not sincere. And I realize that as well. That's like if I say that I'm going to do the dishes and then not do the dishes, me telling somebody what I'm going to do doesn't have any value. And that's what I had to realize for me. Like all of this year, I had to start having the action, because it's easier for anybody to speak from their feelings and their thoughts. And that's why a lot of people, once again, like when I went to jail, a lot of people who like to judge and belittle and just talk crap are like, how do people keep doing things and not realizing? Like a lot of people, like I said, it's easier for a lot of people to say certain things but not do what they mean. It's easier for somebody to speak on something and not have any action about it, and it takes time. And that's why, once again, too, I don't compare myself. This is a judge free channel. Like, I want everybody to understand that when it comes to accepting your thoughts and living your life and figure out who you are, it's up to you, and that there's no right or wrong way or like a specific time that you have to do this. Like, everybody has a different role, everybody has a different part in this world. Like me, I've realized this year that I have to do what I'm saying, because if not, it doesn't hold any value. So realizing that when it comes to accepting your thoughts, feel what you feel, but understand what you're feeling and reflecting, and knowing that it's okay if you do things that you say you don't mean, or if you are unaware, because everybody had to grow. Like I had to learn, and I learned the hard way, because for me, I've had situations where it almost cost me my existence, so my life. And for some people who, are like me, it may have to take you from losing your life. And then there's some people who just naturally know, because they may been raised, or just how they think. Everyone does not think and perceive life the same way. So knowing not to compare yourself, and when it comes to accepting your thoughts, to just reflect on what you're doing. If you're not able to realize what you say and what you do and how it makes you feel, you're not going to change. That's why a lot of people are, like I said, have cycles, and they continue to do the same things repetitively. And you're like, well, how come they haven't changed? How come? Because they are not aware of what they're feeling and how it makes them feel. So if that's like someone who steals, like the reason why when I was young and I used to steal makeup was because I knew that I could get away with it. If I had enough decency to realize that me stealing is just because I was comfortable and not, being responsible for my actions, I'm going to keep doing something because I am not realizing or understanding how it is affecting me. It wasn't until I got caught one time and I was embarrassed. Like, it was really embarrassing, because it's just like, to realize that what you put out is what you get from this world. And it may not be immediately, but it does catch up to you. And once again, I've been in situations where I've almost had my life taken away from me. So to realize that our life is very, very important. It is very sacred. It's very valuable. So realizing and learning. So like accepting your thoughts is allowing yourself to be mindful, to grow, knowing that it takes time to grow. Like, not trying to be anything other than yourself. Once again, I'm speaking from a higher self. I'm now at my higher self, and my actions now can defend what I'm saying. Like, I had to realize, for me, starting to represent myself, to become a businesswoman or just a speaker, because I want to do more than just one thing in life, but to realize like my natural um power or ability was to hold myself accountable. So now when I say something, my actions align with it. So I am who I say I am. And for me, it took me a lot of growth. It took me, like I said, repeating the same cycles, repeating the same, environments and exposure to realize. And for me, I'm very grateful. And because of Source, I am protected, but everyone is not me. There's some people in this world who don't even get the opportunity to experience. So this is why I'm here once again, to represent myself, to be a messenger for you all. And just like my mentor, who's, been living for 60 plus years, from experience to, inform people. Because at the end of the day, people are going to do what they want to do. So rather you're able to reflect and understand how you feel or perceive certain situations, that's on you. And realizing that it only affects you. So for example, when I wasn't satisfied with myself, when I was going through my, I guess, spiritual awakening, or when I realized my worth and who I was, like how it affected me, like me financially not having the abundance that I wanted. Like the only person who was, you could say, miserable or upset was me. Like me not being able to have the freedom, or transportation to do what I want. So knowing that when it comes to accepting your thoughts, that it takes time, it takes, awareness, and it takes action. Like, in order for you to grow, you have to not know. So understanding, just like my mentor, who's, I'm pretty sure, had been exposed to certain situations and environments to get to where he was, as well as me. Like, and like he said, not to being so content with the label, because the label is just the attachment. And as I grow, once again, in the next couple months and the years, the time being, like, time will tell. That's one thing that I am very strong believer on. So realizing that, learning to be, mindful, and remind yourself that it's okay to accept and allow your thoughts, and to just recognize, and that practicing, like, in order for me, like I said, to be where I'm at right now, I had to practice. That's like anything that you do, you have to practice. If you're not willing to practice, you cannot expect change. If you're not willing to put the time and energy to yourself, you cannot have a different result. And that's something that I learned this year, and I'm very proud of myself, because I am now taking the action that for 3 years ago I could have, did, but because I didn't have the strength, and I, chose not to, I didn't. So unfortunately, this is why I tell you guys not to, hold grudges, to learn to forgive yourself, and learning to accept your past, is because I can't go back in time. Like, I just said that to myself. I told myself that last night before I went to sleep. I can't go back in time. I can only move forward and be responsible for this year, this month, and today. And to know that, to continue to grow, because this life is very, like, precious, and we're only here for the time being. And to realize, once again, how you perceive your life and how it affects you. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Live your life, and don't forget to say YOLO.